All right. So everyone, it's Casey Truffaut here with class number 3, More Clients for Me. And I am delighted that you're here and that you really embrace this idea of more clients for me. You know, I know many of you are watching with us live, so hi to all of you live, and I know we have several of you listening on the phone as well. Just want to say hi to all you guys. And then for those of you that are listening later, either at your leisure or to the replay, we want to tell you that the same energy that I'm putting into this call is coming out to you listening whenever and wherever you're listening. So I want to say hi to all of you that are on the webcast with me and those of you that are on the phone and the video. All right, well, let's do a very quick recap, and then I have an exciting surprise I want to share with you, and then we got a lot of content to talk about today, so I want to get going with all that. So, woohoo! So, if you'd like to put in the webcast, if you're watching us live, if you'd like to put in the webcast there, the chat, what it is you're taking away from the first 2 calls, I'd love to share that with everybody. All right, so in our first call, what we talked about was the 4 filtering questions and the idea that you are on the leading edge, that you are in this spot of knowing that there are clients circling around your head just waiting for you to kind of lift the veil. We talked about the snow globe in number 2 and how we're allowing the snow to just settle so that the people can really see you. And I truly believe that marketing is going to be so much easier when you let your authentic voice out. And so some of you are saying, I'm reinventing my web pages and my counseling identity based on the first 2 calls. So hopefully that was on the filtering questions. And then Stephanie says, I'm sharing the joy. Yes, we really wanted you to let the joy out. We talked to one of our Topaz members this morning, and she was saying that letting the joy out is making her phone ring by just getting excited and telling people what it is that she does. People are getting excited. Michelle is saying, I'm planning some more community presentations. Awesome. David is saying from class 1 was a much more authentic way to market and a much more genuine way. And therefore, it's very inspiring. So very, very happy to read that this is what's coming up, because this is my goal for you. You know, it's very odd to share with you the idea of I can't tell you exactly the right words for you. And the reason I say that is because you need to do the 4 filtering questions in order to identify what are the right language to use for your clients and what is the easiest way to actually attract them. And again, in session number 1, we talked about the 4 filtering questions, starting with what does success mean to you? And that was in terms of how do you want to work? What hours do you want to work? Who do you want to see in the office? What kind of money feels good to you? And why does it feel good to you? Those were question number 1. Then we talked about you. Who are you? We got deep into what is your message and what is your business model. And that reminds me of what we're going to talk about in class 4, which is various additional business models that you can add to the private practice to bring in multiple streams of revenue. That'll be in class number 4. But question number 1, what does success mean to you? Question number 2 was who are you and your message. Question number 3 is who needs to hear that message? Do they want to pay for it? And if not, let's work on that message until we get to something that they would want to pay for. And then 4th is basically what is the best way to market them in terms of where do they hang out together, where are they seeking help, where are they looking for help, who are they talking to about needing help and about their problems. So those were the 4 filtering questions. And then in class number 2, we went through the various different marketing activities. And that was, to me, really fun because it got us the opportunity to really get clear on, we have the community marketing, internet marketing, public relations, and tribe building or community building. We had an opportunity to go through all 4 of those. And what I'm hoping that you saw with the case study of Kylie that we did in class number 2 is that what is important to your marketing plan is to identify you and your authentic message, then pick the marketing activities that work for you. And we talked about our CARE model, C-A-R-E. So remember, CARE stands for clarify, act, review, and enjoy. Now the C in CARE, in this more clients for me metaphor that I'm using, stands for clarify, and we're talking about clarifying with those filtering questions and then picking the marketing activities that you want to do. Now the A stands for act, and this is a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm very excited for you guys. So today, here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to be, I'll entertain a couple of questions at the end if you want to put those in the chat. Amber, if you can help me gather those questions in the chat, I'll be happy to put them in at the end. Also, if you have a question and you're on the phone and you want to press *2, feel free to do that. That'd be awesome. It looks like some of the people on the chat are saying that they're finding themselves that it's easier to focus on what to do with their marketing, and that is awesome because that is what we're going to be talking about later today. All right. So in terms of theoretically, if you've done the assignments that I've offered so far, you now have that clearer vision of you and who your ideal client is and how you want to market to them. And now comes the A in that clarify, and we're talking about acting. One of the things that I find is that when therapists and coaches and healing professionals start to do this work in attracting clients, often they get stuck in one of two places. They either get stuck in the C, meaning that they can't, I'm going to do air quotes for those of you that are listening here, they can't decide on the ideal client, and it becomes an effort in frustration. And if you find that, what I'm going to suggest that you do is perhaps rethink it, because what that means is you're probably making it more difficult than it is. What I find is that when therapists are struggling in getting the acting going, it often happens because they have a thinking problem. So I think we have thinking problems or doing problems. So let me explain what I mean. So we've got the thinking problem. So the thinking problem is, I think that I have to have the perfect ideal client. And if I don't have the perfect ideal client, nothing's ever going to work. So I got to be perfect, and we focus on perfection. Remember, we want to focus on completion, not perfection. Okay, let's get something done. So be more general. If you're struggling in coming up with an ideal client, don't worry so much about scripting it. Let's just relax and take it easy and describe somebody that we would love, love, love to see. All right? So today we're going to be talking about the A in the CARE model, C-A-R-E. We're going to be talking about acting, and we're talking a little bit about thinking and doing problems, and how you can set up action steps that will help you to get your ideal client. Okay? Then we're going to talk a little bit about the free consultation process I promised you. For those of you that haven't heard it or want a refresher, we're going to talk about the exact template that you can use when offering a free consultation, and pretty much the only place I recommend you offer these free consultations that I'm proposing is when you do a speaking engagement. But I told you that the two places, all other things being equal, two of the places that are pretty much gold mines for getting clients are speaking in the community and offering the free consultation process. You can get in a handful of clients at any one time if you do that. And then the second, should you decide you want to do it and use pay per click or Google AdWords online, that's another option. I'm going to talk a little bit about both of those. And then I wanted to talk to you also just briefly about websites. And I think that'll be our class for today. And then our next class, our final class, class number 4, we're going to be talking about additional products and services that you can add, or different ways that you can earn income as a therapist or a coach in the Private Practice Plus business model. So that'll be our class for next week. So how exciting is that? Now, before we continue with the A and ACT and how to build that marketing plan and actually get out there and make it work for you and let you attract clients, here's what I want to share with you. we got some exciting news. Now, I know that when I want to review an audio or a video, I don't want to have to listen to the whole thing all over again in order to get the piece that I want. I like to look at something. I'm very visual. Anybody else like me? Any visuals here? Well, what we've decided to do is to offer transcripts along with these videos and audios. So you can have the audios and videos for free forever. And if you want them, you can listen to them again and again and again as your leisure. And if you would like to have transcripts and 4 continuing education units, then we are offering those for a small charge of $47. Later, I think on our website, they're going to be $67 or $77. But if you get them during the next couple of weeks, they'll only be $47. So don't go now, but Amber, if you could put this in the chat link, don't go now. But if you go to intli.com/more-clients, intli.com/more-clients, that'll give you the opportunity to go ahead and get the transcripts and the 4 continuing education units. So there's also a list on there of who all we offer CEUs for. Again, for psychologists, unfortunately, we're not able to because your board will not allow you to collect continuing education units for practice management or practice building. But for many of the MFTs, LCSWs, LPCs, we're able to offer that. So go check it out later at IN as in Nancy, T as in Tom, LI.com, intli.com/more-clients. Okay. So let's get to the A. One of the things that I find, excuse me, I'm going to back up. One of the things that I find is a doing problem is that people get very excited because they're feeling now authentically connected to their ideal client. They can feel it. They can almost see their ideal client. They can visualize it. They're pretty exciting. They're pretty excited about it. And then it feels like there's a big leap or a big jump from there into actually how to get them into your practice. So this is really important in that I really want you to be able to make that leap and move over, because once you start into action and you have a clear action plan, it's just so easy. It's just so easy. And for those of you that are in our Sapphire program or our Therapist as Entrepreneur program, we have our daily accountability system, which allows you to go in there and daily mark down what you want to do each day and whether you've done it or not, and connect with all of the other people in the group. So if you're in there, please continue to use that. If you're not in there and you want to know more about that, you can check it out. Either let us know, or you can go to intli.com/sapphire. All right. So, yay, here we are. Here's what your marketing plan is going to consist of. The answers to your 4 clarifying questions, because that's going to give you the words, the content, the languaging that you're going to then take and create your marketing plan. So now we look at under the internet marketing. So we want everybody to have a website or an online presence. Okay. Another exciting note, we're going to be offering a new class on the template of what to put on your website on your first 4 pages. So if you're open to that, stay tuned. We'll be offering that in a few weeks. But what you want on your website is you want them to feel that they like you, to connect with you, to get to know you a little bit. That is what the purpose of your website is. You must have some kind of online presence these days. If not, it's like you don't exist, like you don't have a phone number. All right? So really important there. So if you look at it, you say, okay, I want to have at least 1 or 2 internet marketing activities, 1 or 2 community market activities. The way you're going to select them from the list that we gave you in class number 2 is, and I think they were actually in class number 1, but we talked about them in class number 2. The way that you're going to be able to pick them is based on who your ideal client is, all right, and who you are. That said, you're probably going to want to have at least 1 or 2 internet marketing. Assuming that your ideal client is talking to somebody in the community or would be going to a talk, then you would want to have a community marketing activity. And then if you decide you want to do some public relations with some reporters, with PR Leads or HARO, Help a Reporter Out, you can do that. Or if you're wanting to build an online business or to add more products to your mix, like we'll be talking about in class number 4, you're going to want to talk about tribe building. We'll talk about that, more of that in class number 4. So let's go back to Kylie. All right, remember Kylie, our Christian therapist who works with couples. So what she's going to do is she's going to have a website, and we know that. We're also going to put her on 3 of the online locators, including a Christian counselor's online locator. So that's going to be her online presence. She's then going to put on there a quick report for how to get your mate to do more of what you want and less of what you don't want. She's going to then have that on the back of our business cards for your free report on how to get your mate to do more of what you want and less of what you don't want. Please visit with her website name, easily able to be spelled, spelling it easily. She's then going to put that in her email signature. All right. Whenever she does a free presentation, she's going to offer that as one of the items on her feedback form. She's going to offer that in the footer of her handout. Anything that gets printed is going to have that in her footer. All right. So we have a question here in the webcast that says, what if you do have a weird name? It's not easy to remember or spell. I would beg you to come up with a domain name that is easy to say and or spell. So counseling in your zip code, counseling in your city, counselor in your city, your counselor in your city, something like that. Something that people would be searching for that would make sense. Or you could have it couples counselor in Phoenix.com. Or your couples counselor, something like that. If you have it difficult to say or spell, you're going to constantly be saying or spelling it. We'll talk more about this in the web class. Now, once you've defined, okay, so Kylie, we know what she's going to do. In her community, she's going to want to do some speaking engagements. She's going to probably do those at churches as a Christian counselor. Right now, she might do some stuff with reporters, but that would really be a little bit of overwhelm right now, and the last thing we want to do is to get into overwhelm. We want to make it simple. So what she's going to do then is come up with a marketing plan, and it's going to say, okay, website. So what are the things that she needs to do on the website? She needs to ask herself, is it user-friendly? If not, one of her tasks is going to be modify the content to make it more user-friendly. She's going to ask, do I want to put an online scheduler on it? Yes, and she's going to have that. So one of her tasks would be research online schedulers so she could find one that she liked, and then that she could put, and then another task after you research it is get it installed. Is she going to hire somebody else to do it? And if so, then she's going to obviously want to research people that could install it. If she's going to do it herself, put a time on her calendar. So you want to do this, we call it chunking it down to the smallest steps that you can then put on your calendar and check off. All right. So then we get to community marketing. So community marketing, what do you want to do? Well, people say, well, I want to get 3 speaking engagements by the end of the week. Well, that's great, but what are the steps necessary to do that? Well, we have to research places or organizations. We have to begin to build the relationship with the program director. We have to see what's been done before. We have to ask if we can serve in some way. So all of these steps are coming in that you would do on a daily basis. You're creating a list, if you will, a task list of things to do each week. And then you can check them off as you go. The reason this is so important is because at times we pick big things, like we'll say, I'm going to finish website. And that becomes the task, finish website. And when we say finish website, I mean, I've had finish website on my task list for 3 weeks. That doesn't work. But when I break it down to do the text for the home page, do the text for the frequently asked questions page. When I break it down like that, I'm able to do it. We're getting ready to relaunch our website, Be a Wealthy Therapist website, and I've done about 3/4 of it so far, and I've done it by chunking it down. So I will, again, one day do, maybe for 2 hours, I'll work on homepage text. Maybe another day I'll work on 2 hours on my frequently asked questions. Maybe another day I'll spend an hour on the About Casey page. So if we don't create those tasks, I know this is sounding kind of, I want to say babyish or elementary, but I'm telling you, if we don't chunk it down, this is the big chasm that I see people falling into. Now, there's a TV show now called Wipeout. I don't know if you've seen this. And there's this big slide, and then there'll be an open space, and the person's supposed to slide down the space and pop onto this other thing. And some people just fall down and they don't slide and go through to the other piece. And part of it is because you don't have enough momentum going down that slide to crest over that chasm onto the other safe land on the other side. And sometimes it's because people aren't willing to take the leap. All right, so those are the two kinds of things I want to ask yourself. Do I have a thinking problem or a doing problem? Thinking problem or doing problem? All right. Okay, good. So now, what are you going to do each week? So what I do is I say, okay, monthly, actually I do quarterly first. What are my tasks that I want to accomplish for the quarter? And I figure out what those tasks are. Then I say, what are the tasks that I want to accomplish this month? Then I say, what are the tasks that I want to accomplish this week? And then I say, how will I know if I've accomplished them? All right. So finish website is a big one. Okay, so that might be a week or a month process. Okay, so then we back that up into, okay, what is the one for, what is it I want to do this week? And how do I know that I've done it? So some people say, well, I want to get X number of speaking engagements. Well, that's cool, but really seriously, what is it you want to do? I want to make X number of calls, and then I want to write X number of email follow-ups, and then I want to wait X number of days before I follow up again. All right? Awesome. Okay. If you're on the phone and you have a question, you want to press *2 and ask your question. I'm happy to take it today. I've got a little bit of time here to take some questions. And if you're on the chat and you have a question, feel free to put it in there. I'm just going to take a sip of water here. Okay. When you're looking at trying to come up with your priorities, I'm sorry, I'm reading here for a second. Let's see. Somebody asked, any ideas for a nonprofit? I'm not exactly sure what the question is, because everything that we've talked about today would be the same for a profit or a nonprofit. All right, to me, that there is no difference in terms of any of the marketing. So if you have a more specific question, let me know that. Okay. So the idea that the thinking problem and doing problems, if you know that thinking problems and doing problems are going to stop you, that's when we go back to the why of why it is you want to be in private practice. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to put a little bookmark there, and I'm going to come back to it. We got a couple of questions coming in. Vanessa says, what if you have more than one type of client and they are very different? Well, my husband has a saying that says you can't chase two rabbits at the same time, although some people have said you can if they're going in the same direction. If I told you I can help you attract more cash-paying clients and I can plumb your pipes with copper, I'm guessing that you're not going to hire me for either. All right. So if you're trying to market two different types of clients, I think you have to rethink marketing both at the same time. All right. It might be that trying to market two things at the same time is hurting you, and I don't want that to happen to you. So I have many stories of people that have tried to market more than one thing at a time and had a backlash of people saying, I don't believe you when you say one or the other. The other problem with trying to market two things at once is you want your business cards to kind of reflect who you're marketing to. And if you have two separate types of business cards, it's very confusing when you're talking to somebody to which card do I give them, or forget it if you have just one business card but you have two different ideal clients and somebody says, so who's an ideal client for you? Well, somebody who would really like to get cash paying clients or somebody who's having leaky pipes. if most of the time people are going to run from that. So I'm going to suggest that you pick one that you feel passionate about, that you want to market. That doesn't mean you only do or serve those kind of people, but it's the only kind of person that you market to. Then once that is built up and you don't have to worry too much about marketing that, and you have your marketing plan going on a regular basis, then I am inviting you to do the other. Okay, so that would be one. Somebody else was asking, Amber, if you can help put some of these in the chat for me, that would be helpful.
Sure.
So Dallas says, what marketing practice is yielding strong results from those you coach? I'm not sure if that was for me or for somebody else in the chat, but I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. If you're asking me if there's one particular kind of marketing activity that is the best, it goes back to those 4 filtering questions. Then once you have those 4 filtering questions, assuming that your ideal client would be very interested in going to a talk and would be very open and excited about going to a talk, and you enjoy speaking, then speaking with the free consult is one of the most powerful. But my whole point in the class number 1 is that I really want you to pick activities that suit your ideal client and that actually go with who you are and your authentic message. We have to love them into our practice. And this isn't about picking the best one. It's about finding where our sweet spot is. Okay. Amber, was there another one that you saw there for me?
Nope, it was just those 2.
Okay, good. All right. I thought I saw somebody ask, where do you find speaking engagements? And one of what you want to do if you're looking for places, you want to think about places to speak. You want to think about where your ideal clients would be hanging out together, that they might be willing to come in for a talk. So you could potentially take your community paper that comes out weekly in your community and see if there are any organizations where they group together that might be looking for a speaker. You can look in your city paper that maybe comes out daily and look for an entire week under all the calendar sections and see if there are any groups there. Think about, are you trying to attract business people or moms? Where are they likely to be? Are they likely to be at churches or PTAs or business networking meetings? All of those kind of things. So again, you're looking at where the sweet spot of who you are. And once you have done the 4 filtering questions, these answers come. And so my guess is, if anybody's having questions with these, it's probable that we haven't gotten clear. 2 things are either probable. Either we haven't gotten clear on those questions, or we have a thinking and doing problem. We're stopping ourselves in some way. All right? So, awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk about the free consultation in just a minute. So, I just have to tell you that I am so honored that you guys are here with me today. And again, for those of you that are interested in getting the transcripts and the 4 continuing education credits, you can do that at intli.com/moreclients. intli.com/moreclients. All right. Now remember, when you're trying to figure out which of the marketing activities might be right, go back to class number 2, go back to the marketing activities worksheet and say, would my ideal client come to a speaking engagement? Who might my ideal client be talking to? And then figure out how to build relationships with those. All right? Super. Super. Okay. I said before that the free consultation and the speaking is one of the best ways to get clients. And now I'm going to say that based on the way I'm going to tell you how to do it right now. I will tell you that if you choose to do it a different way because you feel called to do it a different way, I so honor that and respect that. But I always ask, if you're going to change this model, then what is the business or personal reason that you're wanting to change it? So if you want to change it, I'm all for it, but make sure that you have a business or personal reason to do so. All right? Now, the reason I say that is because a lot of times we'll have a thinking or doing problem in our brain. So for example, I suggest that if you're doing a speaking engagement, you're going to hand out a feedback form. And the feedback form is going to contain 3 options. So you ask them at the top of the feedback form, what is one thing you'll remember from this talk? And the reason we do that is because we want to have them feel good about the talk that they just came to. All right. You're then going to ask them for their name, email, and phone number. Then you're going to have 3 boxes. I always have a raffle, and I always raffle off something that's not my services. It could be an Amazon gift card for 25 bucks, something like that. So you're going to have 3 boxes that you say yes to in increasing degrees of commitment. So yes, I'd like to enter the raffle. Yes, I'd like my free article about whatever you just talked about. And yes, I would like a free consultation to discuss whatever the title of the talk was. All right, so that's your feedback form. I recommend that you hand those out toward the end of your speaking event, and that you collect them then and do the raffle before everybody leaves. You're then going to, within 24 hours, if you're taking notes, underline that, within 24 hours, you're going to you're going to call them and set up a time for that free consultation. I recommend that that free consultation is in the place that you're used to doing work. So a minute ago when I said I recommend that if your ideal client would come to a speaking engagement, then I recommend that you use this model that I'm talking about, the free consultation model that I'm talking about right now, and that you follow this unless you have a personal or business reason to do it differently. All right. So then you're then going to call them within 24 hours, the ones who have said that yes, that they wanted to come, and you're going to set up the time. Know that 10% of them, 20% of them might decide that they've changed their mind. But the quicker that you can get to them, the quicker that they're still enthused about your presentation, then the more likely they are to come in. All right, so awesome. So now, when they come in, the reason, I'm going to back up. I said before that I want you to hold it in the same space that you hold your existing work, and that is because you're imprinted to do your best work in the same length of time as a regular session and in the same space as a regular session. And that's what I want for you, is for you to be in a space where you are aligned with doing your best work. And that's the way that you usually do your best work. If you usually do work over the phone, then you want to have the free consultation over the phone. If you do your work in your office, do your free consultation in your office. I just want to remind you, I'm talking about offering a free consultation at your speaking engagements only. I'm not at this point suggesting any other place. All right. Then when they come in, you then structure the session in 4 parts, and you can make these equal if you want, or you can make the first 3 a little bit longer and then the last one maybe 7 or 8 minutes. And that is, you start out with what's the situation now, and you empathically join with them all through that. What's the situation now? Second, what would you like the situation to look like? The third one, what will that mean to you if you're able to meet that? And then 4, God forbid, what happens if nothing changes? All right. So the reason that we do that, okay, so what's the situation now? What would you like the situation to look like? What would that mean to you if you get that met? And then God forbid, what happens if nothing changes? All right, those are the 4. And for those of you that are purchasing the transcripts, this will be at about minute 30 or 35, about halfway through your transcript. And you can have it written there for you. The reason that you're asking those questions, instead of just getting a history and trying to do some interventions, is that they're very strategically placed. What's the situation now allows you to join with them and allows them to begin to feel the pain. The second question is, what would you like the situation to look like? Gets them in touch with the hopes of the possibilities. The third is, what will that mean to you if that happens? Then you just revel in that with them, and you're just playing in the mud with them about, wow, what would that mean to you if that happens? You're excited. So they've gone up a hill. Okay, they've gone up the what's it like now? And then they're moving a little bit higher. What would that mean to you? And excuse me, what's going on now? What would you like to have happen? What would that mean to you if that happens? You're all excited. And then you drop them down to, and God forbid, what happens if nothing changes? All right. Now, the reason that we do it in that way is that they're going to start to feel bad again, because you brought them up to the pinnacle of what could be possible for them, and then you've dropped them back down to reality and where they are right now, and you've shown them the gap of where they are now and where they want to be. That is super important for them to see, and it's really a great benefit that you're giving them to show them that. All right. So I don't think you could do that by handing out a questionnaire ahead of time, because you're trying to join with them in that process. You don't want them to fill that out ahead of time. You want to be there with them. So now, so let's say they say, well, I'd like to have a better relationship with my daughter. Okay, great. Wow. Well, tell me, what's the situation now? Well, my daughter, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that must be very difficult. Well, what would you like the relationship like to be with your daughter? Well, here's what I would like. I'd like to be able to talk with her a little bit more. Yeah? And tell me more. Well, I'd like to be able to go out to lunch with her and to listen to her and not get upset. What else? What else? What else? Really, tell me more. You're empathically connecting with them. And what will that mean to you when that happens? Oh my God, if I was able to do that, can you imagine? Tears will start rolling down their face, if not yours. And they'll say, gosh, if I could talk with my daughter like that, that would mean finally that maybe, just maybe, I wasn't such a bad mom. And just maybe our future would look brighter. And just maybe I could hold those grandbabies in my arms again. Oh, and then you're just there with them. What else? Well, boy, how many grandchildren do you have? Oh, even, we're just really connecting with them. And then say, well, and use their name, Mary, what happens if nothing changes? And they're going to stop. Two things are going to happen here. The client you want, it's going to stop, and it's going to go, wow, ouch. I don't think I could take that, and they'll start crying. And then you can say, God, gosh forbid, I don't want that to happen to you. I'm thinking it might make sense for us to work together. Would you like to know how I work? And then you set up the appointment. All right. So that is the way that you use that free consultation. And what we have found, as I told you, is a bunch of people are going to sign up. 10 to 50% in the room will sign up, and probably about half of those will become your clients. So if you want a bunch of clients right there they are. Okay. So some people are asking about Groupon or Living Social. Now, this is an interesting question. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's an online coupon type service where you can sign up and you can give away free things or discounted things. And it works great for massage therapists and nail salons and hairstylists. This is where we're going to separate the coaches and the therapists. I have seen it work for coaching if you have a specific specialty that you're marketing. So let's say you're marketing, you're a transition coach. Oh, let's not use that word though, but you're a coach that works with people who've suddenly lost their job, okay, and they're looking to get a new job. If you're that kind of coach, perhaps Groupon or Living Social is not a bad idea. If you're a general life coach, I think you'll get a lot of free consultations, but I'm not sure that you're going to have a lot of clients from it. It's possible. To me, I would go with more of the sure thing where you're qualifying people ahead of time. By doing a free consultation, or free speaking engagement and offering a free consultation, you're qualifying your lead pool. So the people who would get out of their comfortable living rooms and come in to go to a presentation and then would come into your office, you really qualified them. Those are people who are ready to move on their issue. To do, especially if you're a coach and you're doing a free life coaching session over the phone with no particular focus, there's very little effort that the client has to do to engage with you on that. And you're likely to get lots and lots and lots. I mean, I've heard of people getting literally hundreds of requests for free consultations from Groupon. How many of those turn into clients, though, I'm not sure. I don't have stats on that. So if you do that and you have stats on that, I'd love to see them. As a counselor, I want you to think about, would that go with the ethics of your counseling profession? Because I know that some of us have some pretty strict ethics. I don't know that offering a free consultation with an unqualified lead is such a great idea. To me, it's not something I would do. It feels like it's not the best use of my time and energy. Whether or not you would attract somebody that would pay your full fee, I don't know, but that would be my advice to you. If you feel that you have a personal or business reason to do something different, then let me know. I'd love to hear some stats on that. All right. So we talked today about the recap of the 4 filtering questions. We talked about the marketing activities. We did the clarify. C was clarifying the 4 filtering questions, and then we said, now you've clarified those, now you can pick the marketing activities that work with your potential clients. And we know that if your clients will come to a speaking engagement, doing the free consultation process will allow you to grab a handful at a time. All right, so that's a pretty good deal. Now remember, if you're going to do a speaking engagement out in the community, make sure the title of your talk is something that people would be willing to admit to in mixed company. All right, make it something playful or challenging or fun, or something that would invite people to come rather than something that's overused, such as communication difficulties or something like that. You want to make it, excuse me, you want to make it something unique and something that people would be excited to tell their friends they were coming to. All right, so we could talk about speaking forever. In fact, I did a whole 4-part class on just speaking. And again, we're going to be talking about websites in the upcoming web class. But the same thing, if your people won't come to a talk, then your online presence is going to be much more important. Now, there's a question about what about signing up to give a community education class? You're getting my countertransference response here. I'm trying to hide it from you, but I can't. And that is, I never got a client out of one community education class that I did. And I did years of them. So it just didn't. And then people are asking about direct mail. I do have that on my list. I've almost never used it. I've lost thousands of dollars doing it. If you have a really good targeted direct mail campaign, and direct mail means sending snail mail. The thing is that most lists that you buy to send out direct mail to have a lot of bad addresses in them. And so you'll get back anywhere from 10 to 50% of them. So that's a lot of money that you're getting back. Second, how targeted are you really? So you can say, okay, I want to target, this is what I did. I targeted women with households that had over $150 that were married and lived in certain zip codes. And I bought a list for a couple $1,000s. And then I created flyers that talked about 3 specialties: marriage counseling, depression, and anxiety, I think. And put them like little blurbs about each one and a picture, and printed them up very expensively, folded, then spent hours sending out. How many did we send out? I think I bought 3,000 the first time, and then I sent out 2 mailings to all 3,000, and then I sent out another mailing too, because they say you have to, there's like a 1 to 3% return on investment for direct mail. So, meaning that's how many people will maybe call you back. And it cost me thousands of dollars. I got one client that stayed a few times and another client that stayed about a year or 2 or maybe 3. I can't remember. It paid for the direct mail, but the amount of effort that came through with that was just way more effort than it was worth. That said, when I did a direct mail postcard to therapists who were in private practice less than 5 years, and I had that list, even though I got 10 to 50% of them back, I was offering on there a free pink spoon, I think it was a free audio and a free report, and that was the way I began to build my mailing list. So if you want to use it to build a list, that's great. To build clients, there's some coaches that will suggest that for you and invite you to do that. I'm just not one of them. Especially when we're not starting out, and when we're first starting out, and there's so many better ways. There's so many easier ways. If I can do one talk in front of 50 people, get 20 of them to sign up for a free consult, and get 10 of them or even 5 of them to become clients, I did one talk and got 5 clients. That's so much easier and so much less expensive than trying to go and do direct mail. The other way is to use pay-per-click advertising. So Joe Bavanese from Uncommon Practices and Peter Hanna from YourGoogleGuy.com will tell you that using pay-per-click in many parts of the world, and that's the Google Sponsors ad, and putting it where you pay Google a certain amount of money, and then they put your ad up there, and then when people click on the ad, that's when you pay Google. You pay X amount of dollars per click. Joe says that for every 70 clicks, he gets a client. Now, he may have really good ads written. He knows how to do that. So if you spend $2 a click for every $140 that you spent, you would get a client. If a client spends $500 to $1,000 with you, you're way ahead of the game. So that's just another option. So now you'll notice that under the community marketing in our last class, we talked about networking. Now, networking. So again, who's the right person to network? Doctors. Let's think about this for a second. I want a cash-paying client. All right, so if you're in the U.S., I don't want an insurance, or let's say you're looking for a non-managed care client, a non-insurance client. So if you go to a doctor, is the doctor a doctor that takes insurance? So if the doctor is somebody that gets paid by insurance, most likely they're going to want to refer, not always, but most likely they're going to want to refer to somebody that takes insurance. Now, where is that different? Depends on your specialty. So I see we have Dr. Judy on the call. Dr. Judy is a child therapist in Pasadena, California, and Dr. Judy can go to pediatricians in her city that do take insurance because she is one of the few and one of the best child therapists in the area. So she can build relationships to them, and those doctors, because of the relationship that's built, remember that word relationship, because of the relationship that's built, people will refer to her and the doctors will refer to her because she knows what she's doing. They know she can help their clients, and they believe in her because of the relationship. One of the nails on the blackboard things that I get is a lot of people say, well, I'm going to send out letters to doctors. And I ask you, if you got a letter from somebody you didn't know, what would you do with the letter? Right? Would you say, oh, I better put this in my file and I'm going to send to my very best clients to this person? Probably no. We would probably take that and throw it out. And some people would put it into a file and say, but I'm betting that you really wouldn't refer your clients to it. So super, super important. Relationship. And this is one of the things that we always talk about, and that is relationship before request. Build the relationship before you ask, how can I serve you? All right? So those are the things we've been talking about today. If you find yourself getting stuck, then you need to go back to why am I in private practice? Because you don't have to be. You could be working in an agency, you could be working somewhere else, or you could be working at Nordstrom's department store and get a discount okay, on the stuff there. You have lots of options besides being in private practice. So if you find yourself stuck. So what I'm hoping you will do, because you now have all of the information you need to have. You have the filtering questions that will help you clarify. You have the marketing activities that you can then look at through the eyes of that Venn diagram intersection of you and your ideal client. I'm drawing this with my hands for those of you that are listening. You're building, you're connecting those two pieces, and then you're saying, okay, where is the best way to market to them, and how can I do that in a way that serves us all, that's light and easy. Then you say, you chunk it down to the smallest task. you come up with your what am I going to do today goals and then check them off. All right, people are asking how to build relationships with doctors. If you have our self-study course, the How to Build Your Full and Rewarding Private Practice, we have a whole section in there on exactly how to do that. But the bottom line is that you don't build a relationship with the doctor, you build a relationship with the office staff. Okay? You want to connect with the office manager, treat them with respect, tell them you know that they're really the ones that are having it, the ones that are really making the office run, and they really take care of everything, and you want to know, you treat them, there's a lot of questions in the self-study course. If you're wanting to check that out, it's at attractmoreclientsnow.com, attractmoreclientsnow.com. You can read about the self-study course, but in there it gives you the scripts to talk with your gatekeepers about, and you build the relationships with the gatekeepers. And some of you in the chat are saying that, yes, they are the ones that, the gatekeeper's job is to keep you out. So you want to make friends with the gatekeeper so that you can get in. All right? And then we talked today about the two things that I think, if you're wanting from a speaking perspective, the free consultation process, easy way to get a handful of clients in. And then if your people aren't kind of the people that will come to a talk, or if your subject matter, like let's say you're a sexual dysfunction therapist or sexual function therapist or eating disorder therapist or something where people are less likely to come and you want to do some pay-per-click advertising, make sure your website is set up in a way that you're not making some of the accidental website mistakes like putting resources that would throw them off your website, or some of the other mistakes that we talk about, that we'll be talking about in the web class. Make sure that you make it so that your website is self-contained, they can get what they need from your website, and their very next step is to call you. One of the things I want to say here is inertia is your biggest competitor. It's not the therapist down the road. It's inertia. All right. So, super important for you to overcome your own inertia by doing the marketing activities that you need to do, and give your clients or prospective clients the ability to make it easy for them to make an appointment with you, help them focus on doing that so that that inertia stops and they can get the help they need and you have a client. All right. So I'm going to take a couple questions now. If you're on the phone, you can press *2 if you want to ask a question. I'm going to take some from the chat right now here.
Hey, Casey, it's Amber.
Yes, Amber.
Hey, I have one we didn't answer from a while back, if
yes.
you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Tressica asked, we were talking about the free session. She says, do you have them complete a questionnaire before scheduling their free session?
Yeah, I did answer that, and I'll do that one more time. No, you don't want to do that, obviously, because the point is to have them join with you in the room. So,
great.
Yeah, so sorry I missed that. I know that there was there more, Amber, that you can see? We got a lot coming in right now here.
Nope, we're up to date until the new ones come in here.
Okay, good. Thanks for keeping me honest here. Let's see. Somebody says, what if you're unable to do speaking due to fears or public speaking? Well, couple of things. Obviously, if you're not good at it and you hate it, then I wouldn't focus on it. The second thing is that the way that I talk about speaking is I don't want you to do a presentation. I want you to facilitate a group discussion. All right? And we have a lot in that on in our speaking class. Obviously, we don't have time to go through everything I teach today, but in our speaking class that we offer, there is a way that I teach you how to do that. But the bottom line is, you know what, sweetie, everybody's scared of speaking, and what you want to do is just stand up there and facilitate a group discussion. And if they come away with just one point, that's all they want. They don't want a medical school lecture. All right? I hope that helps. Susan asks, what about a half-an-hour consult on your free consult from your website? Well, if you normally do half-an-hour sessions, then if you want to do that, that's fine. But again, I think I cannot say this strong enough. The free consultation is going to work if you do it the same length of time that you normally do a session and in the same place. All right, and do it in the order that I gave it to you. I can tell you that works. I can tell you that works. What I can't tell you is that a half an hour is going to make it better. We have found that if you don't do half an hour sessions and you try to do one, you get rushed. All right, and so that doesn't feel good. So that's of concern to me, and the chat is now going faster than I can read it here. Amber, can you read me a question? Let's see. Oh, somebody asked about the feedback form. How much time do you allow for people to fill out the feedback form? Super question. Again, and the speaking class goes all through this. I wish I had time to go through all through it today. We're trying to give you as much as we possibly can in these 4 calls. And what I would say is toward the end, you give it to them, and then you take some questions while they're filling that out. So you, and there's sort of an order in which I say it, but you know, I'm just really excited. I'm going to give you, we're going to do the raffle, and I would maybe, it depends on the length of your talk, but I would maybe give them about 5-7 minutes, and make sure you get somebody from the audience to help you collect those. All right. So, okay, Amber, was there more here?
Just reading through them, and it looks like we've touched base on all of them.
Okay. Again, if there's anybody on the phone, just press *2. You guys have been quiet today. How do you get past the fear of putting all this work in and not getting any clients? Well, if you I'm speechless. Sweetie, I just want to reach through the phone or the screen here and hug you, because but I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I was becoming a coach, we had a lady who was a coach come in and talk with us. And she said, and I might have told you this story before, but she said, here's how you be a coach. And there were a couple of us that were therapists, and we were kind of freaking out over the difference between therapy and coaching. And we were drilling her with questions, just drilling her with questions. Like I was so scared of becoming a coach. And you know, she starts kind of smiling at me toward the end, and she looks at me and she goes, Casey, not everybody was meant to be a coach. And I realized that my fear, I had a choice. I could either decide, hey, you know what? This is something I want, my why of being a coach. So your why of being in private practice, what is the why that you have? All right. That has to be strong enough to carry you through doing this work. There's no guarantees. So if that why is not strong enough, then I invite you not to try to be in private practice, because it's way too hard for somebody who doesn't have a strong enough why. If you do have a strong enough why, then get some support. Get some people in your corner. Consider joining us in the Sapphire program, and if you're not already in there. And our Therapist is Entrepreneur group. And decide that, yes, every day I'm going to take one step closer to my dream, which is in private practice, and I'm going to let the joy out, and I am not going to let fear stop me. Remember that Marianne Williamson quote, who are you to play small? All right? The world doesn't need that. The world needs you. All right? So I love you guys, and I just so want to give you big hugs and kisses, and I know that if you're wanting to replay this call and know what was supposed to be on the feedback form and all that, you can go ahead and get the transcripts. Again, Amber, if you could put that in the chat, it's at intli.com/more-clients. Otherwise, you can replay the video and get all that. All right. I love you to pieces, guys. Mwah! Go forth and let your love bring them into your practice. All right. I adore you guys. Mwah! See you on our next call when we'll talk about Private Practice Plus, and we'll talk about some additional business models for your private practice that can bring you more income and help you leverage your time and your energy in a way that you can reach more people, have more energy, and increase your income. All right. Love you guys. Bye-bye.